Hello friends, welcome to TechCrunch. In our last video, we have seen that how we were using physical servers and then virtualization technology comes in and then right now it's containerization technology is going on, right? So everything or every applications are running within the containers these days. And we have also seen how containers are being used. So today, moving forward, let's start our Docker journey. So Docker, which manage those containers, right? And in this session, we will discuss some more Docker basics. Okay, so let's move forward and start our Docker journey. So what we have seen in our last video that we are using containers on top of our hardware, which is a physical server, right? We have installed host OS on top of that hardware. Then we have container runtime, which used to virtualize the kernel. So that is used for kernel virtualization, right? Or kernel isolation. And then on top of that container runtime, we use different containers. So today I have marked this whale sign here. So that defines a Docker, right? So now these can be used as Docker containers because we will use here container runtime as Docker engine. So because as Docker uses Docker engine as container runtime on our hardware or physical server. So all the containers will be using as a Docker container, right? So you can see on this host we are having three Docker containers, right? And so why Docker comes here in the picture? Because earlier we also using containerization technology with LXC, Linux containers, and RNC and LXD, right? But that was little difficult to manage. So Docker, as an open source tool, comes into the picture to make it easier to create, deploy, and run applications by using those containers, where a container allows a developer to package up an application with all of its parts like it need, uh, just like libraries and other dependency, and deploy it as a one package only. We have seen that, right? So within a container we just package up all the dependencies and binaries and system tools, runtime, and all those those requirements we just package in one container, and for any application we want to deploy. So this container runtime uses these C groups and kernel space and user space as a namespaces for our Linux system, operating system, uh, where namespaces like a user space and kernel space allow us to virtualize system resources like file system or networking for each of these containers, right? And where C groups provide a way to limit the amount of resources like CPU and memory that each container can use. So that was about Docker containers. So let's see how what other products that Docker company or organization or that provides to us, right? So let's see. Yeah, we have two main products from Docker for us. One is Docker Desktop and another one is Docker Hub, right? Docker Desktop is an application for the building and sharing containerized applications. So we can install Docker Desktop on our Mac OS or Windows OS, and there we can develop our applications, containerized applications, right? So we can build or test our application within using the containers. And once we have developed or deploy our application, we have built, we have tested that, and it is working fine. Then we need to have some store, right, where we can store those images to reuse them later, right? So for that purpose, we have Docker Hub that is public repository, or you can say registry, which can be used for finding or sharing container images with our team or other Docker community members. So we can upload our Docker images there, right? That is central repository over the cloud, right? Docker cloud. So, and whenever we want to use that any image, there are a lot of images already which are uh, made available from different products like MongoDB, Node.js, and other application images, right? So we can pull those images from there and deploy on our container or wherever we want to use. So that is the purpose of Docker Hub. And Docker Hub, or you can say Docker Registry, that is we can have on-prem or as well as on cloud. So different cloud platforms having their different Docker registries. Like we have for Docker, we have Docker Hub or Docker Registry. On Azure, Microsoft Azure, we have Azure Container Registry. On Google, we have its Google Container Registry. For AWS, they are having AWS Container Registry. Then for OpenShift, we have Quay registry, and some other Docker trusted registries as well for other clouds, uh, right? And for on-prem, we have hosted Docker registry and Docker trusted registry for on-prem servers or on-prem data centers. So Docker Hub is the world's largest repository for of container images, where we can store or share container images, right? And that is for free as well. And if we want, we have option to choose subscription plan for private repositories as well. So in future, or in within our next videos or coming videos, we will see how we can use Docker Hub, right? And Docker Desktop. So let's move forward. So there are some important features provided by Docker, right? So one of them is container runtime, which I already showed you on diagram as well, which is a standardized packaging format for different set of applications, which that container runtime, which is a Docker engine that can be run on any Linux operating system and Windows as well. So the container engine, which is container runtime, which is Docker engine that enables containerized application to run anywhere consistently on any infrastructure, right? So now developers and operations teams will not have any excuse that it is not working on my laptop, right? Earlier they were saying if some developers are building their application on Windows or any other different operating system distribution for Linux, and after that application is working fine on their system, and we provided it to another different developers to deploy into production, and there it just get meshed all just burst up, right? It was it will be not, it will not be running or working fine. So that at that time they usually gave excuses that it was working fine on my laptop, my system. Now don't know why it is not working here. So now they cannot give any excuse like that. So Docker engine container runtime is usually is the manager which manages all the Docker builds, right? Networking and volume part of containers, that how the storage, how and where the storage will be used in volumes, how one container will interact with another container through a networking, and managing those containers using orchestration feature, right? And container D, which is the daemon for Docker containers, and it also provides us the Docker CLI and Docker API to connect to those containers through the command line or from API, application programming interface, right, to connect to each other or to connect to our application. This container D also implements the container runtime interface, which we will use in Kubernetes, right, in our future videos, and that is widely adopted across all the public clouds and enterprises now. So mostly in Kubernetes, we will be using that container runtime interface as container D. Whereas BuildKit is an also open source tool that takes the instruction from Docker file and build a Docker image. I'll show you that later, right? What is Docker file and Docker image, all those things. So now BuildKit provides several enhancements which makes creating those Docker images much faster and more precise and portable. Then we have multiple integrated developer tools that helps us to build and share application which can run anywhere. So those developer tools can be installed as plugins, Docker CLI plugins, which helps us to build, test, and share containerized application and microservices easy and faster. So some of the developer tools are like Docker build, right? Which I told here, which is used for creating Docker images for multiple CPU and OS architectures, and we can share them in our private registry or on the Docker Hub. Then we have Docker app, which facilitates packaging and installing and managing containers and configuration of application as a shareable unit. A Docker app extends the functionality of Docker Compose to streamline DevOps practices and can be stored in same in Docker Hub or a private registry. Then we have Docker Assemble uh, that can be used if we do not know don't know that how to write our Docker file or determine the right image to build upon, right? So at that time Docker Assemble provides a language and framework tool for building an optimized Docker container directly from our code. Then we have Docker Context, which makes easy to switch between multiple Docker and Kubernetes environments. So whatever application we build on our workstation environment, we can move it to test, then stage, and then production environments with a simple command instead of remembering those complicated connection strings. And then we have a Docker Hub, which provide a single UI view in Docker desktop as well, where we can view images stored in multiple Docker repositories. And we can also configure a complete CI/CD container workflow with automatic builds and action triggered after each successful push to Docker Hub registry. So whenever we push our Docker images to Docker Hub, it can automatic trigger the CI/CD pipeline workflow. So we will see all those things in our later videos. So just like Docker images, we have Docker app, which is immutable and makes easy to track and manage our images. So and Docker app maintains consistency across deployments of easy troubleshooting, updating, and rolling back. So it just help us to uh, develop application development and delivery by bundling different distributed services into a single Docker application. So we can collect or bundle different distributed services into single one using the Docker app. Then we have Kubernetes, which is a standard, which has become a standard orchestration platform for containers. Whenever we have large number of containers, so we have to manage them, right? And we that is little complex and difficult. So to overcome that complexity, Kubernetes comes into the picture to manage or orchestrate that a container platform. Orchestration means also the management of anything, that is orchestration. So Kubernetes is just an open source orchestration system for automating the management, placement, scaling, and routing of containers that has become popular with every team right now. Kubernetes was first developed by Google and then contributed to open source in 2014, and since then it is becoming more popular and popular more and more. So about Kubernetes, we have different uh, videos, collection of videos will be in future. So we will see Kubernetes in depth in those videos. So let's now move forward. So that was all about Docker features. Now we'll see Docker components. How all the components together build that Docker container or Docker products. So as you can see on this diagram, right? Can see this a man sitting here that you can think of as a developer, okay, which will create a code or build any code. So before going forward, let me just give you an overview. Like every application which we are using these days on our mobile phone, on laptops, or anywhere on TV. So those all applications are created by developers with some programming languages like Python, Node.js, Java, and PHP. So those using those programming language, those developers created those applications, right? The same we will try to use here. So this developer will create a Docker file, right, which is just instruction sets with some commands within a text file. Okay, so when we will uh, execute that instructions or that Docker file, we can create or build Docker image out of that, right? We can build and then we can also test our Docker file to create Docker image. So once a Docker image will be created, right? Then that will also be just a code file, right? A file, and when that file will be executed and keep running, that will become a Docker container. So Docker container we can also think as a running instance of an Docker image, right? So you can say when any Docker image is running, that will be considered as Docker container. So right, and what happened to this Docker image? We need to store it somewhere, right? So to store, we we use a Docker Hub or Docker registry here on top. You can see. So we can once our Docker image has been tested and built and created, right? So we can just push or commit. A commit is just like save, right? So we will save it, or we can push our Docker image to Docker Hub or Docker registry. And whenever we will require it again somewhere else or anywhere, right? So we just pull that Docker image from that Docker Hub or registry, and then again we can run a Docker container with that image. So that is all about basic components for Docker, right? So we just need to understand how to create a Docker file, right? And then using the Docker file, how to build or test our Docker image, then how we can push or pull or commit our Docker image to and from Docker Hub or Docker registry. Then to create any container, how we would run that Docker image, and how we can create Docker containers. So this will be just about one container or two or some containers, right? Right. But when we have a large number of containers we need to manage, right? Then we have different components will come in future. Like I'll show you in the next videos, which is a Docker Compose or Docker Swarm, right? I just telling you name right now so that you can recognize in future videos. So Docker Compose and Docker Swarm we will use to manage the clusters of these Docker containers. So just now we will focus on these things, right? Then it will be easier for us to use those Docker Swarm and Docker Compose, right? So now you must be thinking that I am telling you all these things, but how you will practice this, right? How you will create Docker file or how you will perform all these operations or activities. So first of all, as I told in last slides about Docker products, we have Docker Desktop, right? So we can install the Docker Desktop on either Mac OS or Windows. So Windows will be easy for us, right? Because we most of you which are you watching this videos must have a laptop, right? So on that laptop you would be having Windows as well, right? So on that window we will install Docker Desktop, and on that Docker Desktop when we will be installed, we will create Docker file and then create a container, Docker image, and then run container on top of those Docker image. So let me show you just steps to create that Docker Desktop installation, right? So these are some of the steps for Docker Desktop installation, right? So as first of all, Docker Desktop is available for Mac OS or Windows, right? Then we will go to docker.com. Let me show you side by side, right? That will be better. So we are here at docker.com, right? So yeah, first of all, good news for you that we are having DockerCon live at 2020, which is going to happen on 28th May, right? So if you want to understand the things which will happen in DockerCon, right? This is Docker conference, so you can register it for free, right? And on 28th May you can join and learn a lot of things there. So ignoring that, right? Just for now you can register, right? So on docker.com, either we will go to we'll click on products tab, right? And here we'll click on Docker Desktop, or second option we'll just scroll down, right? And here we can see Docker Desktop, and we'll click on this one, right? See Docker Desktop. If I'll click on this, so it will bring us to the same under products and then Docker Desktop. You can see on the URL, right? Under the products, it will bring us to Docker hyphen desktop. So it will bring us here. So now if we'll click on, because we will be using Windows for this, so let me click on download for Windows, right? And it will bring us to Docker Hub. So this is Docker Hub, right? So from a Docker Hub, as I told that we have our Docker images stored there. So this is also and just like an image, a Docker desktop image for Windows on Docker Hub. So we will get it from here. So it's written here that Docker desktop for Windows is available for free, and it requires Microsoft Windows 10 Professional or Enterprise 64-bit. For previous version, get Docker Toolbox. Okay, if we'll go little down, then we can see we have two type of versions here. One is Docker Desktop for Windows stable version, and another is Edge version. On stable, we can use if we want to have a reliable platform to work with. This is of stable release, so we'll have less issues. But on Edge channel, this will get experimental features faster and can have sometimes bugs or instability. So we will not be using H channel. We will be using this stable one, right? So if I'll click on Docker desktop for Windows on stable one, right? So we are getting it downloaded. It is about 916 MB, right? So let's see once it complete the download. So till the meantime, it gets download. Let's see if you are not having Windows 10 Professional or Enterprise, right? And you are having previous versions. So we can also install Docker Toolbox there, right? Let me click on Docker Toolbox. Okay. So in Docker Toolbox, what we'll get, this is a legacy desktop solution for Mac and Windows. We'll get Docker machine commands, Docker and Docker compose commands with a Docker UI, GUI, which is Kitematic, and a shell pre-configured for Docker command line environment and Oracle VirtualBox. So right now I am having on Windows 8 with my system. So let me install this one. Okay. Check your version to run Docker. Your machine must have 64-bit OS, right? So all these things I am having. Okay. Let's see virtualization is enabled or not, right? So for step 2, let's go to download and latest version of Docker Toolbox. Toolbox releases, right? Let's see the latest release, this one. Okay, let me download this one, Docker Toolbox 1903. So our installer has been downloaded, right? We use, let me show you, right? So let me run this. So it has been, the wizard has been started. Let me click on next and it will install in Docker Toolbox folder. Next. Okay, we want Docker Compose, VirtualBox, Kitematic for Windows and Git, right? Okay, desktop icon. Next, install. So let's see once it get installation finished. So it is installing VirtualBox now, and let's wait for some more time. So installation has been completed for Docker Toolbox. So let's just finish it. Let me close download and this one as well, right? Okay, we got these two icons, right? Shortcuts. So let me click on Docker Quick Start in Terminal. So it has downloaded this ISO. Okay, and now creating machine and then creating SSH key, VirtualBox VM. So we have VirtualBox VM as well, right?